Okay, this is a short video that is going to summarize how to read and understand the weekly Parallax financial report. What this report entails is it condenses and summarizes some of the key technology that investors and traders and money managers utilize to make investment decisions. So, the first part of this report is usually just a broad overview of the markets that have very, very important inflection points happening currently. The two main signals that we monitor, which are the most reliable and the most useful to a trader or active manager, are the extreme Hurst signals. There's two classifications. One is called a compression signal and one is called an extension signal. The compression signals are basically points in a market where a new trend is going to commence very shortly after the signal has confirmed. These signals are denoted by these blue diamonds that happen on the chart here. Currently, we have some in the S&P 500, the OEX 100, the Russell, and some other key markets. What happens from these blue diamonds is it's not indicative of a direction, it's just indicative of a new trend or volatility expansion is about to begin. So a manager has to utilize their own discretion and other tools to make a decision on which direction, either bullish or bearish, the new trend is about to start. The other side of the signals that we monitor are extension events. These are very opposite of the compression signals. These indicate very high probability times and levels that this market will stop trending in its current direction. So you can see right here, this was an example in the EFA index where the market had an extension signal here and the market stopped its downtrend and it began a sideways market action. Here's an example of the Chinese index when it started getting these top extension. It very, very accurately predicted that this market was going to have a sideways period and then also a reversal. So the uptrend ceased to continue and it reversed after these points started to happen. Some of the key ones that we think are very important going into the next couple of weeks are the coal market is seeing some of these weekly bottom extensions, and the crude oil market is starting to show these monthly bottom extensions. So even though we are dipping lower than when the signals started, these signals have a high probability of predicting that the crude oil market should stay range bound, say between $40 and $60, or begin a new uptrend within the next year, year and a half. So that's the first part of this report. The second part of this report that is attached is a detailed fundamental screen of all the stocks within the S&P 500. For example, this is the consumer discretionary sector, and how to read this is this particular company, Apollo Education Group, which is online education, is currently given its valuation, and the valuation is made up of an algorithm that reads all the publicly released accounting information to Zacks research database. And so it reads all that information and it looks at the overall valuation of that balance sheet, earnings, debt, all these things, and it gives a prediction on where that stock's price would be if it was fair valued. So right now Apollo Group is almost 500% undervalued given its fundamental underlying accounting data points. If we want to go down and take a look at the energy sector, so right now, even though, or even when oil is basically making new lows, a lot of these companies are showing extreme undervalued prospectuses. The WPX Energy Group is over 500% undervalued. Denbury is 300% undervalued. So these, given their current price, which is not shown, would have to increase 300% in order to reach fair value. And so over the long term, this model has proven to provide a substantial edge because prices always try to seek at least fair value of their valuation. What's interesting is even though a lot of the industry is severely undervalued, some particular names are still over 50% overvalued: Cabot Oil and Pioneer Energy Resources. The last part of this graph to denote is the extreme Hurst column over here. So just as we described the blue diamonds and the fuchsia triangle turning points, these are also detailed within this fundamental report so that a user or a manager can take a look at last week's price action and discern whether or not there's an actionable signal to enter a stock or to a hedge accordingly. How to read this is B is a bottom signal, C is a compression signal, and T is a top signal. So it tells you what direction this thing is going to either reverse or what type of signal is happening. The first number is sort of irrelevant, but it pertains to how long this signal is valid through. Depending upon what time frame we're looking at, like a 5.8 or 6.0 signal is very, very relevant. It's probably over half a year of validity to this signal, 6 months. The second number is the ranking. So the higher the ranking, the more confident we can be in this particular signal. So a 99 rank is, out of 100 is almost the highest we can get. The lower ranking signals, we have less confidence, but still very, very confident. The last number, which is probably the most important, is how many weeks ago did this signal actually trigger? So when I look at these reports, I'm looking for zeros and ones because that means that the signal is more recently valid. It's not that it's invalid, say 37 weeks from the signal. It's just more valid from a trader or manager's perspective if it's happened last week or a week before. So for example, this is how I would read this particular case. Scripps Network Interactive, SNI, is 40% undervalued. It's a media company and it had a bottom signal, so it's safe to say that a portfolio manager could expect it to stop trending downward at this point, and it could be safe to enter long positions given the signal just happened last week. All right, that's it. Lastly, there's a video on the details of how the extreme Hurst signals actually work. It's at vimeo.com 66865737. It's on my webpage. Feel free to watch that if you have any more questions on how the extreme Hurst signals actually work.